Hello.
So, I was looking at some reaction requests, and I had a request for SCP-5000. I saw that this video was done by SCP Illustrated like a week ago. So I'm gonna do this one because I like SCP Illustrated, and I'm glad he's doing like recent videos. And this is like a huge project. The video's like an hour long. And I think the one you guys wanted was from the Explore series, but he credits the Explore series here. This guy's fantastic. So this is a compiled story from SCP-5000 from SCP Illustrated. Of course, his link's in the description. Like, you definitely should just check out his video. But let's get into it. This one's a doozy. You guys said this is a great SCP to check out, and I think this is the best channel to get a full breakdown from, to be fair. So let me know what you guys think about that, but I think this is the best place to be. So let's check out this vid. Play.
Good day everyone and welcome back. Today, the definitive SCP-5000 video, the entire story and the entire explanation. All three parts from the last 3 months combined into one video and a thorough explanation provided by Yost.
Okay. So it's 3 months of research. Wow. Super exciting.
Description. SCP-5000 is a non-functional mechanical suit identified within its internal schematics as an absolute exclusion harness designed by the SCP Foundation. Although SCP-5000 is believed to have once possessed a number of anomalous functions intended to protect and benefit its occupant, damage inflicted to it in the past means that it is currently only capable of basic file storage. For a record of files contained within SCP-5000 upon recovery, see Archive 5001. SCP-5000 first appeared in a flash of light within SCP-579's containment chamber at Site-62C on the 12th of April 2020, containing a corpse genetically identical to Foundation employee Pietro Wilson. Pietro Wilson is currently employed at Exclusionary Site 6, and Amnestic Therapy has confirmed he has no knowledge of SCP-5000 or memories concerning the events detailed within its archives. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-5000 is to be kept in a deactivated state within a standard storage unit located at Site-22. All files and intelligence retrieved from SCP-5000 are to be stored on a secure server with backups available upon request from the archival department.
Right leg fell off, bruh. Site-22's got like everything, by the way. Like, so many things are stored at Site-22.
Journal Entry 1-1.
My name is Pietro Wilson. I don't know what's happening. I think I might be the only one left.
See?
The date is 02/01/2020. Sorry, thought transcription is tricky. I'm not used to this yet. The date is the 2nd of January 2020. I've just escaped from Exclusionary Site 6. I'm not certain, but I think everyone.
Sorry, I was read ahead, that's why I gasped.
Those guys, they were fodder. If I hadn't got to the suit, I'd be...
Is it the serpent's hand?
Journal
out there
Entry
murdering
1-2.
people?
I need to get myself together or this thing isn't going to be legible at all. Most likely they're going to want some kind of record of this whole incident for posterity. I'm currently on my way to the nearest Foundation installation, a small safe house for agents making their way through this part of the country. Most likely there won't be anyone there, but I should be able to get into contact with my superiors and find out what exactly is going on. Things started around 6, maybe 7 hours ago. A group identifying themselves as Mobile Task Force Zeta 19, Lonely Only, Insurgent Infiltrators, maybe, entered the site. They had proper identification and everything, and gathered everyone into the canteen. And
that's messed up.
Jesus, I can still taste the blood. I can't get that awful metal taste off my tongue. It's a miracle I didn't get hit or trampled on. The way people were climbing over each other to get out of there. If I hadn't got to the exclusion harness, I'd be dead. No doubt about it. Like I said, they were thorough. I'm a technician for the power grid on ES6, so I don't fully get how this thing works, but I understand the basics. This perception filter thing, it doesn't mean people can't see me, but it does mean they can't recognize the fact that they can see me. Which I guess is the same thing when you get
It's an
down to it.
invisibility suit? That's cool. That's how real invisibility is, bro. It's not like a real camouflage. It's like a perception confuser. That's dope.
But those infiltrators, they didn't even take anything. Didn't even try to. I watched after I got into this thing. I was too scared, fucking coward, to make a run for it. They just checked the bodies and left. An extra bullet for every
Whew,
head.
that's brutal.
They were just there to
Bro,
kill
I'm
us.
telling y'all, bro. Y'all are cold in the SCP universe, man. Y'all are cold.
Journal entry 1-3.
Finally made it to the safe house after hours and hours of trudging through this goddamn desert. Heard a few explosions in the distance. Maybe the Foundation sent an MTF to engage those infiltrators before they got away. Hope so. Never been happier to see bottled water in my life. The harness sustains your body while you're wearing it, apparently. But my mind still thinks I should be drinking. Human nature, I guess. Anyway, once I get these legs of mine rested, I'm going to try and get these systems online. I need to get in touch with the Foundation and find out what exactly is going on.
Journal entry 1-4.
Holy shit.
Holy shit!
Downloaded file 1-1.
They sent this to every government, news organisation and anomalous agency on the planet. Fuck me.
The following is a message composed via consensus of the O5
What?
Council.
What?
For those who are not currently aware of our
What?
existence, we represent the organization known as the SCP-5000.
What? Really? What?
Our previous mission centered around the containment and study of anomalous
What?
objects, entities, and other assorted phenomena. This mission was the focus of our organization for more than 100 years. Due to circumstances outside of our control, this directive has now changed. Our new mission will be the extermination of
What?
the human race. There will be no further
What?
communication.
Is this some kind of alternate universe thing? Y'all pulling my leg? What is going on? This is like the Avenger War, you know, like the Civil War of the Avengers or whatever. Dude, what the heck? Is it Marvel? Dude, you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The Civil War. Sorry, chat was like mad confused. Screw you, chat. Bro, that's crazy. What? No.
Composed file 1-1.
Immediately following the release of their worldwide announcement, the Foundation began their
Are
assault
you
on
serious? They did.
mankind. The response to the anomalies the Foundation let loose was as
Oh,
quick
this
as
is
it could have
good.
been. But the damage is being done. It's hard to tell what exactly is going on, but from my position here, accessing the Foundation network and keeping a track of the news, I've managed to grasp a little. I'm going to get everything I know down, so that when this is over, if anyone's still alive, they'll know what happened to us. SCP-096. Images of SCP-096's face circulated on social media platforms. Death toll had already reached the hundreds before the images were taken down. For all I know, that thing's still going. SCP-169. A series of nuclear charges have detonated within and along SCP-169's back, causing it to stir in its sleep slightly. The resulting earthquakes and tsunamis devastate a significant number of coastal settlements
It wouldn't
around the
even
world.
be hard for y'all to use SCPs to kill us. What do you mean?
SCP-662.
Wow.
Over the course of 24 hours, an individual whose appearance matches that
Mr.
of Mr.
Deep,
Deeds
bro.
appears in the vicinity of several major heads of state and assassinates them using whatever tools are immediately available, disappearing just as
Not
quickly.
my guy.
I don't know why this stopped after the first day. SCP-610.
Damn.
Samples of SCP-610 are dispersed by embedded Foundation agents within many major cities, including New York and Delhi. All civilians in the area, along with the agents themselves, are quickly infected and succumb to SCP-610. Further spread of SCP-610 is halted by the combined efforts of the Global Occult Coalition and the Church of the Broken God. SCP-682
My dude!
released. I don't understand why this
You
is
already know what
happening.
happens when he comes out. This is what he been waiting for. He knew some
Download-
shit that we didn't know. He knew. He was just biding his time.
File 1,
Oh,
2.
this is good.
News footage I managed to download between drinking sessions. Begin log. Reporter Maria Henderson is speaking from inside a GOC evacuation tent. Scrolling header indicates that she is speaking from the outskirts of Trolsa, Sweden. Behind her, patients can be seen being treated by doctors in full protective gear. Maria herself is wearing a surgical mask pulled up slightly to allow her to speak into the microphone, which kind of defeats the purpose, if you
Thank
ask
you.
me.
Repeating what has previously been
this?
put out by the Global Occult Coalition. Residents that have not
Who's
already
that
evacuated
screaming?
are advised to seal themselves inside their homes as quickly as possible, using whatever materials are
You hear that
available.
production? All them sounds? People in the back screaming and shit? I see y'all, boy. I see y'all.
Shit. We've got expiration. Get the eraser ready.
Oh, this is cold. I'm in this so heavy.
Let's get them out of here.
Shit.
Maria Henderson quickly begins moving out of the tent, out into a field filled with similar installations. A loud buzzing sound is heard from the tent behind her, and several flashing lights can be seen. Thick smoke pours out of a gap in the top of the tent.
Any individuals still in a compromised area are advised to keep careful watch over those around them. If any friends or family members begin exuding a noticeable minty smell, they are to be quarantined immediately.
Feed cuts out. I later found out that this is when television stopped. Everywhere.
Wow.
Internet too. World gone dark in just
Oh,
a
that
few
would
seconds.
just cripple everything.
End log.
Journal entry 1-5.
It's funny. With the supplies in this place, not to mention the exclusion harness, I could probably survive for years right here. But the idea of being sat here with no idea what's going on in the outside world, it's unbearable. Still, I'm not sure whether I really want to know what's happening out there either. When I was a kid, real sick all the time, not able to go out that much, I was really into detective stories, Sherlock Holmes and all that shit. I always wanted to figure things out. Anyway, my dad had this row of plant pots on the wall outside the house, and they were always getting knocked over, but he could never figure out what was
Okay.
doing it. That was pretty much at my peak of detective obsession, so I was on the case like nothing else. I was a stupid shit, so I couldn't actually deduce anything, you understand. So I ended up buying this cheap spy
That
camera
works.
and recording the wall
Yeah.
at the night. It was a stray cat. My dad ended up kicking
Oh.
it to death, like I should have known.
Okay.
Curiosity. Well, you know
Damn.
the saying. Everyone involved would have been better off if I'd minded my own business. Except my dad. But fuck it. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I'd rather be doing something than nothing. Besides, if I have the exclusion harness, nothing that would want to hurt me will ever know I'm there. I'm a tourist at the end of the world. Destination, Site 19. Closest real Foundation installation. Only makes sense. I'm getting some
All
answers.
right. That's a beautiful shot, by the way. That is just absolutely spectacularly drawn. Like, that is amazing. I'm a big scenery guy, so I'm for this.
Only makes sense. I'm getting some answers.
Recorded file 1-1.
Encounter with Foundation elements a few days after leaving my shelter. Watching weird behaviour. Begin log. Viewing a group of Foundation soldiers in a clearing from a distance, 9 in total, stood in a line. A 10th soldier, the commander, is silently pacing back and forth in front of them. Uniforms and insignia, they look like those of MTF Epsilon 6, the village idiots. After a few seconds, the commander claps her hands once and steps towards the line.
Performing the check now.
Of course.
The commander takes out a knife and stabs the soldier in the shoulder. There's no
Okay.
reaction.
Get that wound treated.
The soldier nods. The commander proceeds to stab each soldier in the line in the same way, with no reaction from any of the victims, until the 8th, who noticeably winces.
Got a live one.
The commander and all other soldiers quickly aim their guns and fire upon Soldier 8, killing him. He drops to the ground. The commander then moves to the 9th soldier and stabs him in the shoulder, with no visible reaction.
All right, we're clear. Move out.
MTF Epsilon 6 pack up their supplies and leave the
All
area,
right.
leaving the corpse of the
Now
dead
we
soldier
getting
where it is.
somewhere.
Manage to retrieve weaponry and basic medical supplies from the body. Bury it as well as I can afterwards. End log. Closing notes? No fucking
Yeah.
clue.
That's a tough one.
Recorded file 1-2.
Weird transmission I caught on an old radio. Don't know if it's important, but trying to get everything down for posterity. Begin log.
7, 5. Can you hear me? There is a hole shining in the holes between your eyelids. I have never been to Versailles before. I want to be loved. 9. I am standing behind you now. 5. I am 2 of us standing behind you now. The goddess eats the city in
That's
the
a
sea.
good one.
9. There's a hole on the floor with an answer waiting in it. 7. Look, you're hatching. You're hatching.
End log.
Worst serenade I've ever
Closing
heard.
notes. Message stopped once I turned the radio over and saw that it was damaged beyond repair. Am I feeling okay?
Journal entry 1-6.
When I thought of Site 19 as being relatively close by, I never really took into account that was probably with a vehicle in mind. Can't risk cars or anything like that. Even if I went unnoticed, the vehicle wouldn't. All it takes is one Foundation soldier or wandering anomaly to spot it, and I'm as good as dead.
At least he already knows it's an
Marching
anomaly.
through the woods, even with the harness protection, isn't the most pleasant experience. It would be hard to move out of the way if anything came traipsing through, for one. Just because things can't notice me doesn't mean they can't run me down. Gives me time to think, though. Like, why the hell am I even going to Site 19? What do I hope to accomplish? If I wanted to stay out of danger, survive as long as possible, I'd be best suited as getting as far away from any Foundation personnel as possible, not jumping right into the Viper's nest. Answers, I guess. More than anything, I want answers. Even if I get kicked to death after.
See, that's the one thing about the untangibles about a lot of the people we hear stories from in the SCP universe. A lot of people, of course not all of them, but a lot of them have just like this good nature about them, even though there's a grittiness and darkness about everything else going on around them. And that's always like a pleasant part, like one of the most pleasant parts about the SCP Foundation by far. You know, but we're going to continue this. Like,
Composed file 1-2.
I've reached Site 19. Security's in disrepair. Most of the anomalies let loose a while ago. So it was actually pretty easy to get in. Still stressful, moving out of the way of the researchers as they went about their business. They were still talking like colleagues, discussing how to get maximum human casualties, like it was something they'd always been doing. But their eyes, it was like something was missing from them. Some spark. I couldn't see them as human looking at their eyes. Maybe not even alive. It's hard
who is
to
it, the
describe,
fungus?
but it gave
Is
me
it
the
the
creeps.
black fungus?
Accessing the Foundation database with some stolen senior staff credentials, I think I've managed to put together a basic timeline of what
Okay.
happened right before their declaration of war. I don't know what it all means, but I guess it's a start. 16th of December 2019. The O5 mark a project called Numa as being of special interest to senior staff, Apparently, it was a mass amnesticization project like Kaleidoscope, except mostly focused on the collective human unconscious,
What?
the psychospace,
Okay.
whatever you want to call it. Apparently, there was some kind of breakthrough in mapping out the psychospace, except I can't see what it was because it's fucking redacted. Typical. 17th of December 2019. A vote is undertaken by the O5 Council, with the result being unanimous. Ethics Committee also concurs. Don't know what the votes were about, because it's fucking redacted.
Okay.
19th of December 2019.
God.
A series of instructions, redacted instructions of course, are sent to all senior staff members and site directors. A wave of suicides and resignations go out across the Foundation, with Dr. Charles Gears being one of the employees resigning.
Dr.
22nd
Gears.
of December 2019. A number of files are sent out to all remaining senior staff members and site directors, with instructions to also disseminate those materials among the staff serving under them. The files are accompanied by the message, "Harden your hearts." All suicides and resignations immediately cease following dissemination of the materials. 25th of December
Is that a baby?
2019. Full block on all communications in and out of Foundation sites. Termination of the majority of human and human sympathetic anomalies is performed by the staff at each site over the course of the next week. Information suggests an assassination team was sent after Dr. Charles Gears, but it doesn't say whether they were successful.
He might be the key to this stuff.
2nd of January 2020. Mobile task forces are dispatched to all exclusionary sites to execute all personnel.
Wow.
Immediately following the conclusion of these missions, the Foundation declares war on
That's
humanity.
crazy.
Not quite certain what all this means. Did the O5 Council send out some kind of mimetic agent to get everyone to go along with them? But that wouldn't explain why the O5 Council would want to wipe out humanity in the
doesn't make
first
any
place.
sense.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. More information on the anomalies the Foundation are actively using too. With the news down, it's hard to get much solid info outside of their own records. And even those are still goddamn fucking redacted. I mean, it's the end of the world. What's the point of redacting shit anymore? Who cares? Just tell me what's going on. Fuck it. I'll put it all in a table for posterity
Alright,
or
let's see what
whatever.
we got.
SCP-1370. Television service temporarily returns. All channels are propaganda speeches from SCP-1370, rambling on and on about how he's going to take over the world or whatever. This one isn't actually that bad. SCP-1048.
Ah, the bear.
I don't know how the Foundation managed to catch that thing in the first place, but helicopter footage shows hordes of bears created by 1048
Yeah, that's messed
rushing
up.
through the streets of Paris. The footage isn't too clear, so I'm not quite sure, but it looks like there's a massive red teddy in the distance as well, walking around next to the skyscrapers.
That's kind of cool.
SCP-1290.
Hey, this is cool.
SCP-1291 and 1292 are moved from their original position and used as a rudimentary projectile system to launch projectiles at a secure GOC installation called Ganzia. Not 100% sure from the files, but it looks like it's just one of a frankly obscene number of anomalies they're using to try and bust in there. If you ask me, they'd be better off firing missiles, but nobody's asking me because they've all gone nuts. SCP-1440.
I don't know what the hell it is. Oh, the Ice Cube.
SCP-1440 is transported from refugee camp to refugee camp by Mobile Task Force New 22 Rocketmen, where its anomalous effects cause rapid devastation to those fleeing communities. Strangely enough, the way these events are described in the files makes it sound like SCP-1440 actually has no effect on the Foundation
Wait,
personnel.
yeah, I don't know what that
assigned
one
to
is.
it.
1440.
SCP-1678. The Foundation intentionally abandons containment of SCP-1678, removing personnel from the immediate area. Once chaos caused by additional anomalies makes evacuation of London impossible, officials from the British Occult Service direct citizens to take refuge in SCP-1678 below. Once the city has reached capacity, the Foundation detonates the nuclear device stationed there prior to
Wow.
abandonment. Going to try investigating some more before getting out of here. see what I can find out.
Notice: files deleted. Time elapsed. Duration
Always
unknown.
nice.
Journal entry 1-7.
It's been about 3 months,
Oh,
maybe.
there's
since
the
my
time
last entry.
since his last
God knows
entry,
what
but
I've been doing
not
since
since we lost
The time between then and now is a complete blank in my memory. And it looks like the files from that period have been deleted as well. As far as I know, I should be the only one able to do that. So take that as you will. I seem like I've been through a few rough patches. I have a few scars that I don't quite recognise. I have a bandage around my temple. The exclusion harness doesn't seem to be damaged though, so I don't know what hurt me. Did I fall off a cliff or
Okay.
something? The sad part is I can actually see myself doing something like that. Never was the smartest. Site 19 is long gone. Well, it's still there, I assume. But I'm halfway across the country. Couldn't tell you why. It's weird though. I feel like I have a purpose now. Even though I'm not 100% sure what it is. Just where I need to go.
The survival suit is really doing its thing.
There's a briefcase in my hand. I'm having trouble recalling what exactly is inside it. All I know is that it isn't round, and I need to get it to SCP-5000.
1 second.
Notice: files deleted. Time elapsed. Duration unknown. Journal entry 1-8.
I underestimated how long it would take to get to SCP-579. Site 19 was a trek all on its own, but 579 is another story entirely. I wouldn't even know where it was without this documentation, which I have no idea how I obtained, but that's beside the point. I've stopped counting the corpses I've walked past. It's probably in the quadruple digits now. Jesus. Maybe even higher. Came across the dead body of a kid, a little boy, in a house I was grabbing some supplies from a while back. At first I thought he'd just been shot in the head, but when I went to bury him I could see there were things moving underneath his skin. Little pale worms, hundreds of them, that poured out the second I touched him. They all had his face. They were all laughing. They scurried off into the drain. I don't try to bury people anymore. Keeping going is a lot more difficult than you'd think.
Notice: files deleted. Time elapsed. Duration unknown. Composed file 1-3.
This thing in the briefcase is a godsend. Don't know what the hell it is, but if things are getting too much
Is it
pain, I
SCP-999?
just need to open it up, and the next thing I know, I'm miles further along from where I just was, feeling warm inside like something gave me a pep talk. It's like my own personal skip button for when things are getting rough.
Okay, that's cool though.
Managed to get temporary access to the Foundation database from the corpse of an agent I found half buried in the woods. Wolves were already helping themselves to him, but they obviously didn't mind me taking his laptop. They didn't notice me anyway. The Foundation is still throwing everything they've got at everyone else. I'll put it in a table. Might as well. SCP-5000. The Foundation intentionally triggers the eruption of Yellowstone, obliterating SCP-5000. For now, anomalies deployed by the Mana Charitable Foundation have slowed down the environmental effects at an absurd rate, but it's still just a matter of time before we choke on ash.
So SCP-5000 is disguised as a park ranger in Yellowstone Park. Ah, it's a K-class end of the world scenario. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus Christ.
SCP-2200. Somehow the Foundation seems to have mass-produced SCP-2201, and those swords are making their ways into the hands of refugees. With all the victims that SCP-2201 are cutting down, SCP-2203 is overflowing with a mountain of living 2204 trapped under a mountain of dead 2204.
I remember this one.
SCP-2241. One of the few human anomalies that weren't terminated. It appears SCP-2241 is being used as a living weapon to destroy the biggest refugee camps that crop up, forcing survivors to remain in smaller groups. Unknown how they're getting it to be that loyal, but I doubt it's pleasant. Last information on SCP-2241 says that it's being deployed to assist with the siege at Ganzia. Apparently, they're having some trouble. SCP-2466. SCP-2466 was constantly being used in order to compel survivors originating from California to perform actions both socially disruptive and physically hostile.
Wow.
This was apparently effective, but after the 4020th use of SCP-2466, it crashed and became unusable. Guess there weren't any residents left. SCP-2639. SCP-2639 were being dispatched to survivor communities and installations for groups that opposed the Foundation in order to kill everyone present.
Jesus.
Apparently they were told that they were fighting monsters that had escaped from containment and were destroying the world. Clearly they figured out that wasn't the case, because they've refused to do anything since about the 6th time they were deployed. Good for them.
Journal entry 19.
It's nice having company, even if they don't know you're there. I'm sat around a fire with a group of GOC soldiers who are trying to make their way... Well, I don't think they actually have anywhere to go at this point. Just wandering, maybe. I thought about revealing myself, trying to ask them to help me to get to 579, but I don't want to risk it. Maybe I've just gotten used to not existing. Forget being a tourist. I'm a ghost.
Downloaded file.
I like that
3.
pause there.
Interview log from an interrogation facility inside Ganzia. As far as I'm aware, this is the first time a captured member of Foundation personnel has spoken during interrogation. Interviewer is a Commander Morrison, with a scientist called Dr. Rhodes also being there. The guy being interrogated is a member of Mobile Task Force Omega-2, Secret Keepers, Samuel Ross.
Begin log.
Do you know where you are?
I'm in Ganzia, right? You guys grabbed us while we were trying to sneak in.
That's right. Do you know why you're here?
You're going to interrogate me, I assume.
Doctor?
Confirmed. Subject has nothing implanted inside of him. No mental agents or
You
cognitive
guys
hazards
talking
either.
and stuff?
You're safe to begin.
Okay. None of your colleagues we've spoken to have talked. Not a one, not a word. Why are you talking to me now?
We've met before. Do you remember? In that joint operation in Tenerife a few years back. With the Seagull Prince? Do you remember? I was wearing a gas mask back then, so you probably don't recognize me. But I recognized you. And it gave me a chuckle.
Okay.
That's why I'm talking.
That's the only reason?
Okay.
When we caught you trying to sneak into the city with the refugees, you and your comrades started firing into the crowd at random.
Oh, man.
Children all murdered for no reason. Don't you think that's crazy?
Fucker.
That's funny to you?
Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. It's just... I just thought that was a little hypocritical.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're interrogating me like the information you'll get will help you, but there's no time for you to really do anything, the way I see it. No matter how many times you fire Abel at her, Professor Crow's Europa will rip this place open before long. But you're still acting like you can do something about it. Don't you think that's crazy?
If you've spoken up just to talk nonsense, we can always try enhanced interrogation. I don't want to, but I'll do it.
Do what you want. Once you realize you're not supposed to feel pain, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
What do you mean by that?
No, you wouldn't want me to say.
I very much do.
I'm not talking to you.
That doesn't make any sense. Tell me.
He's not talking to you. Yeah.
You sure?
We're still good on inoculations?
Cleared on all Foundation kill agents. Yes.
Then spit it out, Ross. Stop stalling, or we'll have to get unpleasant.
Fine.
I didn't catch that.
You'll have to speak up. That microphone only has so much gain.
Commander Morrison and Dr. Rhodes can be heard screaming loudly. Wet cracks and sounds of rushing wind are also audible. The screaming, which grows higher pitched over time, continues for the remainder of the recording.
Look what you've done to yourselves. I told you you wouldn't like it, didn't you? That's why you hear your voice. I really liked you guys, so I was trying to be nice. We're so kind to you, you know. We fight in the light, so you can die.
Oh, that's a really cool effect.
Disgusting.
That's a really cool effect. I like
End
that.
log. Apparently, right after this, some kind of emergency arose inside Ganzia, and the city ended up being destroyed from both the inside and outside. Files don't mention the specifics, but the GOC may be done.
Okay. That's one hell of an ending.
Notice, files deleted. Time elapsed, duration unknown. Journal entry 110. It's getting hard to keep going. When the GOC were keeping up the fight, there was this sense that things could still be turned around. But with them on the run now, it's easy to feel there's no point to all this. With Ganzia taken care of, the Foundation has turned their full attention back to everyone else. I don't eat or drink anymore. The harness takes care of all that, and there's too much of a risk that anything I consume will be contaminated by one of the awful viruses the Foundation is trying to spread. I've seen corpses in pretty much every state imaginable by this point, some of them walking around even. Every time I open the briefcase to skip, I make a little less progress, feel a little worse. Whatever was helping me before, it's like I've grown numb to it. Wouldn't be the only thing. Why am I even going to 579? Do I actually have a reason?
That's crazy.
Composed file 1-4. Foundation's still fucking us. Here's a table about it. SCP-5078. Apparently the Church of the Broken God managed to get the internet back up and running in some areas. The Foundation fucked that pretty quick by uploading thousands of copies of 3078 through pretty much every medium available. So the internet went back down. SCP-3179. The thing was freed from containment after the Church of the Broken God started trying to rebuild things. Sparked a civil war inside the church over whether this thing is Meccano
Oh,
or not,
yeah.
which really put a damper on their ability to help out. Plus, it's making as many fucking Terminator things as it can, so that's fun. SCP-3199. SCP-3199 eggs are now being airdropped pretty much wherever. I'm sure you can imagine how that's going. Might write more later. Journal entry 111. Have been making my way towards 579. Maybe a little slower than before, but who can blame me for lack of motivation? Been seeing some strange things lately. Stranger than usual, I mean. First are the blinkers. There's been quite a few of these around lately. Now, I'm pretty sure these were created by the Foundation, even if I don't know how. I don't know most things, so just add this to the
Blinkers
list.
sound cool.
They're statues. Statues of soldiers, MTF uniforms, with empty sockets for eyes. Their arms are carved into blades, like what you'd see on a praying mantis or something.
Crude.
They're harmless as long as you look at them, but the second you look away, they can move, and they're fast. Saw one cut through an entire crowd of people when a gust of smoke blocked it from view for just a second. I'm wary of them. Me looking at them stops them too, so even if they don't perceive where I am, they're going to deduce that I'm there. Might just start slicing everything in sight, and then that's the end of me. Need to do my best to avoid them completely. The second thing I saw is, well, it's a lot weirder. It was on the horizon like a person stretched out. No, that's not the best way to describe it. It was like the space around them was stretched out, and they were being stretched along with it, like some kind of bad Photoshop effect. Their body went from the ground up to the clouds, and their jaw swung at right angles. There were these gaps as well, black gaps in space around its body, like wings. It just floated forwards like that. There were Foundation guys there too, but they were fighting it, shooting it with guns and rockets. How fucked up is it that I'm thinking the Foundation fighting an anomaly is weird? Maybe they were like me. Managed to get out when all this kicked off. Thought about talking to them, but
Yeah,
decided
no, that's not a good. No, that's not a good idea.
Got out of there. I need to get to 579. I need to do something. Anything. Journal entry 112. I saw a kid die today. I could have helped her. And I didn't. I'm a piece of shit.
I'm sorry, bro.
Composed file 14. SCP-5290.
Oh, yeah,
Through
I like
use of a
this one.
sample of SCP-008 enhanced by SCP-914, the Foundation reanimates the corpse of SCP-4290 and lets it loose. Kaiju monsters from the Serpent's Hand engage, but the file isn't clear on what the results are. Heard the library detached from this universe, but it looks like these guys stayed behind. Idiots. SCP-4666. The Foundation uses temporal anomalies to make it so it's technically Christmas everywhere. Oh, fuck it. Nobody's ever going to read this anyway. Recorded file 13. Begin log. View is of the interior of an abandoned jewellery store from the front door. The night sky can be seen through a broken window. A teenage girl is sitting at a makeshift fire in the middle of the store. A ruby amulet is hanging around her neck. Perception filter is disabled. The girl jumps back, alert, picking up a rusty pipe as a weapon.
Who are you?
I recognised you. The necklace, I mean. The girl groans, dropping the pipe.
Is
You
the
said you didn't
doctor?
kill me? You're gonna be here a while.
No, I got away too. Did you get away too? The girl leans forward, squinting to see Pietro's face.
Jesus, you look like shit, pal. When was the last time you slept?
The suit, you don't need to sleep with it on.
You do need to sleep. Your face is just... It's seriously a disaster, man. You hate to see it.
Can I come in? The girl steps back, gesturing theatrically at the store with one arm.
But of course, there's enough broken glass for everyone.
Pietro staggers in and sits down. The girl sits down opposite.
That's a fancy piece of kit you got there. Want to trade?
No way. I've read the file.
Worth a shot. Been a while since you laughed, huh?
Not been much to laugh at.
Not even when Pesterbot showed up on all the TVs?
Okay, that was kind of funny.
So, you got away too. I mean, I'm assuming you were a Foundation guy, not one of the many people I've pissed off in my lifetime here for revenge.
Aren't those the same thing?
And now you're getting it.
Yeah, I'm Foundation. Was Foundation, I mean. Got lucky when this all started. Got into the suit and escaped. You?
Well, I was senior staff. We would have been told about the plan before anyone else, but damn if I can't remember what it was. Probably because of the second file.
The second file? You saw it? What was it?
Well, okay, cool your jets, kid. We've got all the time in the world. They were just a bunch of images. Eggs, trees, religious stuff. Yeah, it didn't mean anything to me by themselves, but I guess they had something encoded in them. Didn't take like they should have. Probably because of this thing.
So, it was a mimetic agent?
Don't know about that. I've pretty much had everything that can happen to me, well, happen to me. I know what a mimetic agent feels like. It didn't feel like that. More like I was being released from something than something being forced on me.
I see. So you don't really know what's going on either?
No.
Fuck. The girl removes a small bottle of beer from her pocket and takes a swig.
Yeah, so, you, heading somewhere or just wandering around feeling sorry for yourself?
I'm heading to 579.
If you're suicidal, there are easier ways to go about it. Believe me.
You know what it is?
Not a clue. Which is concerning because I'm kind of a big deal.
Doesn't matter. I have to get there.
Why?
I just do. Where are you headed?
1437. Just see if I can't piss into another universe. Throw this amulet down there and see where I wake up.
Sounds like a plan.
That's funny.
Well, I wish you good luck too, but we both know you're not getting it, so the day's about to break. I'm heading off.
The girl stands up and moves to the front door. She lingers at the entrance of the store for a moment.
I hope you,
This was
what you're
cool.
looking for,
This was a
at
really
least.
good one.
She leaves.
That was really cool.
Me
Ah,
too.
there's
Endless.
also a list of what the doctor's not allowed to do.
Notice, files deleted. Time elapsed, duration unknown. Journal entry 113. Hi journal, it's been a while. Right now I'm looking at Site 62C, where SCP-579 is supposed to be. There are no guards as far as I can see, and all the security is down. It looks like the place has been abandoned for a while. I was under the impression that this place was extremely high priority, but it looks like the Foundation doesn't agree with me anymore. I have the briefcase in my hands. It's difficult to breathe. I feel like everything will end soon, one way or another. I'm heading in. Journal entry 114. Hi again, journal. I know I ended the last entry so dramatically, and it's been about 30 seconds since then, but I have an important update. The second I got close to Site 62C, I got a feeling like someone was pressing a gun against the back of my head, like I was standing on the edge of a roof and someone's hands were on my back ready to push me. Some fight or flight shit dialed up as far as it would go. I don't know what SCP-579 is, but I know it's looking at me. Recorded file 1-4. Oh shit! Begin log. View is the inside of a hallway within Site 62C. Severe damage is visible on the walls, appearing as if it was done via usage of a large knife. The lights overhead flicker. Fuck! The lights flicker again. When they come back on, a statue of a soldier with blades for arms is visible underneath them. It has empty sockets where its eyes should be, and its face is locked in a snarling expression. I was wrong. They're here. End log. Journal entry 115. I was right. Even if they can't notice me, they've figured out I'm here. Slashing everything in sight. Gouging on my legs. Hurts like shit, but I need to keep moving. They're not chasing me, but they're headed to the same place. Need to get there first. Need to keep watching them. Journal entry 116. Made it. I made it. I made it. I made it. Made it. I made it. Journal entry 117. That's not fair.
No.
But I made it. That's not fair. They're stuck behind the door. I can hear them slashing at it, but it's reinforced. We'll hold for a little while.
No.
A couple of minutes at least. I'm in an observation chamber, full of instruments for monitoring SCP-579. The actual containment chamber is right below me. I can just barely see it if I strain my eyes a little. There's a hole. There's a hole in the floor that leads right down there. I know where 579 is, even if the instruments weren't here. I can feel it. You can't be near it without feeling it, probably. For a second, I thought I could just drop the briefcase into the hole and be done with it. But that would be too easy, wouldn't it? After walking halfway across the world, I guess I haven't earned the right for something to be easy. From the angle of the hole, and where 579 is, The briefcase wouldn't even come close to touching it. The only way it's making contact is if I were to jump in the hole and throw it on my way down.
Jesus Christ.
But that height... Throwing the briefcase would be the last thing I'd do. Of course. Of fucking course. It's taken me my whole life to realise, but I'm not the kind of person that can be a detective. I'm just the murder victim. I die for someone else's story, and the human race is going with me. I know who done it, how done it, but those are obvious. Everyone knows those. Those were handed to me. I don't know why. In the end, I couldn't figure out even a single thing. Why is this happening? Why is the Foundation killing everybody? Why is this happening? Why did they send out those files? Why is this happening? Why did Ganzia fall? Why is this happening? Why am I taking this briefcase across the world? Why is this happening? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I going to die? Is there a reason?
Wow.
If anyone is ever reading this, please figure it out. Explain it to me. Someone, anyone. I don't get it. I don't get it. They're about to get in. First foot forward.
There he goes, too. Tight.
This is confirmed?
We got the report from Numa staff yesterday. It's everyone.
Even us?
Even us, Tejani. To think I'd find myself agreeing with that damn lizard.
What do we do?
You know what we have to do. We'll have to disseminate a cure, I think, among personnel before we get things underway. It'll try to stop us otherwise.
God help us, One.
Don't be like that, Tejani. That's it talking.
Journal entry 118. Oh, so that's how it is.
Said invaded, right? Might be one of the last times that happens. Right. Don't say that. It must be worse for you. That's what everyone says after they find out something they don't like. Jesus Christ. It's not something that can be hashed out in a few hours, man. Can you be quiet for a minute? Of course I can't. No, not yet. The feeling of being invaded. Why not? Don't say that. Don't even talk about it. We should have left well enough alone. I keep thinking like it would be better to end it all. Not with what we found. How long are they going to take? But it's not like that. Everything I am. You know what they'll say. It is me. It's over. It'll take time. You're germophobic, right? Did you get a reply? We shouldn't have looked. You too? I doubt anyone's going to be talking about anything else anymore. I feel sick.
Okay. Okay. So here we go. This is the part of the explanation. So yeah, stop here if you don't want anything else to be explained to you. I'm gonna soldier on, I think. I think I want to know. I think I watched all this. I think I actually want to know what's going on. But for those of you who don't, and you guys enjoy the storyline and you kind of want to keep it going, yeah, please make sure that you step out here Thank you for joining me for this long. And for the rest of you, let's march on.
What is SCP-5000? Why did all this happen? So first off, you remember that mention of Project Kaleidoscope.
Apparently, it was a mass amnesticization project like Kaleidoscope.
Well, Kaleidoscope was a brainwashing and programming project mentioned in SCP-4156. Project Numa, the project we hear of in SCP-5000, was meant to be a similar project. However, they discovered something they were not expecting to in the process. There is a pseudo-scientific belief that all of humanity has a collective unconscious, a space where all humans are connected. It is where we get our human instincts and behaviours from, and it is not something we develop, but something we actually inherit from our ancestors. It is essentially the universal consciousness underlying within every person. Well, the SCP Foundation was mapping out the collective unconscious in Project Numa when their scientists realised that there is a part of this psychospace that is not human. It is an entity. Now, this entity's influence is present within every human being via the collective unconscious. It is responsible for human beings feeling pain, empathy, and various other negative and positive aspects. It is not supposed to be there, and neither are these human attributes. However, at some point in the past, this thing somehow latched onto the human psychospace. This entity can subtly influence every human being's mind and, by definition, influence the entire human race. And finally, it has something horrific planned for humanity. So horrific, in fact, that when the O5 Council are made aware of its existence and its goal, them and the Ethics Committee actually all reach a unanimous decision that it is ethically a mercy and the right thing to do to exterminate every human being.
A vote is undertaken by the O5 Council, with the result being unanimous. Ethics Committee also concurs.
Wow.
Due to circumstances outside of our control, this directive has now changed. Our new mission will be the extermination of the human race.
Death is a better way to go than to let this thing continue to exist.
This is confirmed?
We got the report from Numa staff yesterday. It's everyone.
Even us?
Even us, Tejani.
Wow.
So the O5 Council and the Ethics Committee now know everyone has this thing influencing them. A thing that should not be there and has a whole load of not very nice things planned for us. Because of its influence, the Council understand that they will need to disseminate a cure to the Council before they can get things underway, or else this thing will stop them from doing it.
What do we do?
You know what we have to do. We'll have to disseminate a cure, I think, among personnel before we get things underway. It'll try to stop us otherwise.
It can only exist while the human psychospace does. The only solution: kill humanity. It is also noteworthy to mention that the O5 Council member is shocked to actually be agreeing with SCP-682, the lizard he referred to. 682 believes humanity is disgusting and wants to kill us all.
To think I'd find myself agreeing with that damn lizard.
It's known there were 2 files sent out from the Council. We don't know what was in the first one, but it prompted a load of resignations and suicides.
A series of instructions, redacted instructions,
I will not forget that.
sent to all senior staff members and site directors. A wave of suicides and resignations go out across the Foundation, with Dr. Charles Gears being one of the employees resigning.
This file told everyone about this thing, what it does, what it is, and that the Foundation is now going to destroy all of humanity in order to kill this thing. The second file was the same cure that the O5 were administered.
A number of files are sent out to all remaining senior staff members and site directors, with instructions to also disseminate those materials among the staff serving under them. The files are accompanied by the message, "Harden your hearts." All suicides and resignations immediately cease following dissemination of the materials.
This cure released the staff from humanity, essentially. They were no longer considered human at this point, as is evident when SCP-1440 had no effect on the MTF escorting him to refugee sites.
Strangely enough, the way these events are described in the files makes it sound like SCP-1440 actually has no effect on the Foundation personnel.
It's weird because it makes it like all these SCPs that are like hell-bent on killing humanity are now correct. and that's weird.
The staff also no longer felt pain or happiness. This is made obvious in the stabbing situation.
Performing the check now.
Of course.
The commander takes out a knife and stabs the
And that guy
soldier
goes,
in the shoulder. There's no reaction.
Get that wound treated.
The test the commander referred to was to make sure the soldiers were free from the entity's influence. If they were under the influence, they could jeopardize the operation. One of them was, and he was killed.
Until the 8th, who noticeably winces.
Got a live one.
Lit his ass up, too.
Also in the Ganzia interrogation.
Do what you want. Once you realized you're not supposed to feel pain, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
The irregularity here is Dr. Bright, because he is not technically human. His soul is trapped in the amulet. He is immortal. He saw the second file with the cure but wasn't actually cured. His consciousness is still under the entity's effects.
That's kind of cool.
They were just
I was thinking about that too, because I was like, he's going to toss his thing into like a hole that goes somewhere else, and it's going to start everything all over again.
Eggs, trees, religious stuff. It didn't mean anything to me by themselves, but I guess they had something encoded in them. Didn't take like they should have. Probably because of this thing.
The exclusionary sites where Pietro and the rest of his colleagues worked were built to withstand CK-class reality restructuring events, and so them and all the staff there have to be killed. After this is done, the Foundation throws everything they can at humanity. Pietro escapes the slaughter, however, in the suit. The suit offers him survival and protection from the Foundation. The entity realizes Pietro is its only hope of survival. Pietro happens across a broken radio. He hears a voice coming from it which is actually a hallucination. This hallucination is the entity itself trying to communicate with Pietro. Amongst other things, it speaks the numbers 579.
7, 5. Can you hear me? There is a hole shining in the holes between your eyelids. I have never been to Versailles before. I want to be loved. 9. I am standing behind you now. 5. I am 2 of us standing behind you now. The goddess eats the city in the sea. 9. There's a hole on the floor with an answer waiting in it. 7. Look, you're hatching. You're hatching.
The entity is influencing Pietro to look into SCP-579. Pietro is influenced by the entity further to go to Site 19, even though he does not know why.
Like, why the hell am I even going to
That
Site
little
19?
poem that they wrote was definitely tilting between mysterious and just like nonsense to be confusing. But he did say the numbers 579, you know. But the influence you have to literally be told is there because that's not able to be
What I hope to
translated.
accomplish? If I wanted to stay out of danger, survive as long as possible, I'd be best suited as getting as far away from any Foundation personnel as possible, not jumping right into the Viper's nest.
When he gets there, he remarks the staff have a spark missing from their eyes.
But their eyes, it was like something was missing from them. Some spark. I couldn't see them as human looking at their eyes.
This is referring to the fact the staff are no longer considered human anymore thanks to the cure in the second file. 3 months later we catch up with Pietro again. He is now in possession of SCP-055 and is heading for SCP-579, but he does not know why.
It's weird though. I feel like I have a purpose now. Even though I'm not 100% sure what it is. Just where I need to go. There's a briefcase in my hand. I'm having trouble recalling what exactly is inside it. All I know is that it isn't round, and I need to get it to SCP-579.
Whenever it gets a bit too much for Pietro, he opens the case and then returns feeling better.
I just need to open it up, and the next thing I know, I'm miles further along from where I just was, feeling warm inside like something gave me a pep talk.
This pep talk is the entity again speaking to Pietro and encouraging him to continue onwards. It also makes Pietro delete the files he has made to conceal its plans.
The time between then and now is a complete blank in my memory, and it looks like the files from that period have been deleted as well. As far as I know, I should be the only one able to do that, so take that as you will.
We jump ahead to Ganzia. A captured SCP soldier says something that causes all hell to break loose. We don't know what he said, but we can safely assume that whatever he said made the GOC doctor and commander realise the truth of the entity. Quite coincidentally, what was said has been redacted from the recording.
Fine.
I didn't catch that.
You'll have to speak up. That microphone only has so much gain.
Most likely the entity making sure no one else could hear what was said. The soldier remarks that the doctor and commander can now hear their own voices.
I told you wouldn't like it, didn't you? That's why you hear your voice.
And when he says a you, he is actually talking to the entity and not the commander.
No, you wouldn't want me to say.
I very much do.
I'm not talking to you.
After this, the 055 effect begins to have a diminishing effect on Pietro. The entity is losing its power and influence, now thanks to the Foundation's efforts to kill everyone. Every time I open the briefcase to skip, I make a little less progress, feel a little worse. Whatever was helping me before, it's like I've grown numb to it. Wouldn't be the only thing. Why am I even going to 579? Do I actually have a reason? In addition, we come across an anomaly the Foundation is fighting, the figure on the horizon. There were these gaps as well, black gaps in space around its body, like wings. It just floated forwards like that. There were Foundation guys there too, but they were fighting it, shooting it with guns and rockets. Considering the Foundation are not fighting anomalies, they are letting them loose, it can safely be assumed that this is an actual manifestation of the entity within the psychospace, and the Foundation is trying to destroy it. Because it is now so weak, it's appearing in our own world, and these black wings that we see behind it could actually be a doorway into the psychospace. Eventually, Pietro makes it to Site-62 and joins SCP-055 and SCP-579, yet he still has no idea why he is even there and why he must die. Why am I taking this briefcase?
I feel so sad he died for nothing, bro.
Why is this happening?
God damn.
Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I going to die? The joining of these two mysterious SCPs completely resets the timeline and undoes everything the Foundation have done, including Project Numa. Pietro was at the eye of the storm, and so him and the suit were deposited into the new timeline's version of SCP-579. Pietro was dead and the suit was non-functional. SCP-5000 first appeared in a flash of light within SCP-579's containment chamber at Site-62C on the 12th of April 2020, containing a corpse genetically identical to Foundation employee Pietro Wilson. However, the storage devices had this entire event on them, and buried deep in the code were the two secret messages we hear at the end that give any kind of indication as to what is going on. Ultimately, this was a failure for humanity. The entity won, and the Foundation lost. Humanity is now once more completely unaware of this being, and is headed towards whatever horrific finale this entity has planned for us. And that's finally concludes SCP-5000. Finally,
amazing.
We know why. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did. Massive thanks to Yossi, who wrote up the SCP-5000 explanation on Reddit. My own one you just heard was all thanks to him, so he gets full credit. Go ahead to that post and show the man some love. Huge thanks to all of the amazing people who made this project come together. We had Exploring Series and Lumi, Fallen Foundry, Taskjaws, and a couple of my very lovely patrons. Make sure you're all following the social media pages for video updates and check out the SCP Illustrated shop for posters and prints.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Whew, that was a doozy. Very creepy story, very creepy ambiance, and humanity losing. You know, something that you can't even tell the horrors of until it's too late. It's definitely a existential type of fear that I don't have, but I know a lot of people actually do. You know, the God in the sky looking down upon you that's so large, it's unperceivable to your mind until it is. And then the horrors that await you are thus. So, yeah, glad you guys suggested this one. I'm glad I didn't do a different SCP instead. this actually was just a crazy rundown of humanity's future. I can't wait to see what other branches of the storyline are built off of this one later on. But thank you guys so much for the suggestion. That's been a doozy. It's good to be back with SCP Illustrated for sure. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.